Okay, so hi everyone. My name is Elizabeth Mchughes, and I will be talking to you today about what to expect when you're expecting your first tech interview. So, congratulations, you just got your first technical interview as a programmer. The interview process can be extensive, so I thought I'd go over some things that I've learned while interviewing for developer positions. So before the interview, you're going to want to do some research on the company. So what does the company do? What sort of tech stack do they use? If you haven't worked in that tech stack before, I would do some research or like a small project for practice. And if a friend helped you get the interview, you can ask them about how their interview went. And then work on your elevator pitch, which is a brief, about 30-second way of introducing yourself. You want to get across a key point or two and make a connection with someone. So they call it an elevator pitch because it's roughly the amount of time you would spend in an elevator if you were talking with someone. So you're going to want to talk a little bit about yourself, work you've done, what are you interested in tech-wise, and why are you a good pick for the position. So your first interview will probably be a phone interview. Don't stress, it's just like an informal screening interview. You probably already have the next interview lined up. So you're going to want to ask the interviewer just a few things like how many interviews will you have, what to expect from each interview, like are you going to have a tech interview, are you going to have a culture interview, are you going to be, like at my company they just took me out to lunch, so it was like very informal. And then who will be interviewing you? Like are you going to be interviewed by the lead developer, the head of engineering, a manager, or if it's a smaller company, it could be like the CEO or something. Okay. So my favorite interview is the culture interview, mostly just because I think I have a sparkling personality and that's how I'm going to get the job. So this is where the company is going to see if you're a good fit for them. So do you work well with others? Most likely you're going to be in a team, so they want to know, are you like a good team member? I had one interviewer tell me that he was looking for someone that was smart, a quick learner, and is nice. So, I mean, you can at least get one of the three, I feel like. And also don't forget that you are also interviewing them. So are you a good fit? Or, are they a good fit for you? So take note of how they're treating you throughout the interview. If you have the opportunity, how are they treating other employees? How many women do they employ, especially in like technical positions? And then do they offer any sort of mentorship? I think this is really important when you're a new developer. Are they going to put you in a sink or swim situation? Or will they work with you, help you learn, and sort of give you a chance to be successful? Okay, the scariest interview is the tech interview. So my best advice is just to be as prepared as you can. You can research interview questions. If you are interviewing for some like Angular position, I would research interview questions Angular, that sort of thing. You can find a lot of good like general questions, and then also maybe like things that they may ask you to do, like coding wise. Always admit when you don't know something. This is a big one. They know when you're BSing them. So my advice would be, let them know, like, I'm not sure, I don't know the answer to that question, but this is my educated guess, or if I had to guess, this is what it would be. So there's different types of tech interviews. You might do something like coding in a sandbox, which is like an environment sort of like free code camps, where they'll have you solve like a designated problem, and then the environment will sort of check if your code passed. You could also do, I've noticed with more remote work, you could do some sort of like pair programming where you guys will program together and they'll give you a task to complete. Really what they are looking to see is how do you problem solve. So don't be afraid to ask questions. You will be part of a team, so asking questions is a good thing. I mean, they obviously can't solve it for you, but just don't be afraid to say, like, I don't know how to do this, or You know, a lot of times they let you Google things, so I would try that first. If you still can't figure it out, then see if you can get a little hint or something. So they could also have you just talk about programming concepts. This is actually my favorite tech interview I've ever had, because I was so nervous about the actual coding part. It was in a technology that was similar to the one that I knew, but it wasn't exactly. So I was really worried. I did a lot of research. And then he was just like, let's just talk about, you know, concepts. And he would ask me things that, you know, I already do at work. And it was really informal, but, you know, kind of let him know where I was as a developer. So they could ask things like, what is a repository? What is an instance method? And how do you do an API call? Things like that. Another thing that I thought was pretty cool is they could ask to go through some of your GitHub projects and just have you explain what your code is doing. So I thought that'd be cool because, I mean, you wrote that code, you know what it does, especially if it was a fun, like, tic-tac-toe project or something like that you did. Okay, and at the end of the interview, they'll usually ask if you have any questions. You should always ask questions, usually, just to show that you are thinking about this position more than just, I'm trying to get a job. Things that you can ask about that are important to you are going to be, what's the salary range? Is the salary they're offering within the market of junior devs? So if you've been looking at jobs and the salary that they're offering is way less within the market, I would consider finding a different position. A lot of times, too, if you start that low, it's going to be very hard to get back up to that like range that you should be in. Do they offer remote work? So if that's something you're interested in, you want to find that out now. Some places do like a hybrid situation where you'll do home and remote. And then do they offer any sort of benefits? So, I mean, obviously we all want health insurance, but do they offer like a retirement, a 401k? Do they differentiate between sick leave and vacation time? So you know, your PTO matters as well. Like, it's not just about the job. Right. And in the end, the next day I would send an email to the interviewer. It sort of shows them that you are serious about this position. And then if you do get an offer, don't be afraid to negotiate. A lot of women don't. I didn't with my first job, and I felt like I was playing catch up for a long time. And also don't be afraid to talk about salaries with others. So I did a little bit of research it was CBS News, but they were saying that knowing someone who earns knowing what someone who earns that is in the same position as you can expose pay disparities within a company. So awareness of the differences can encourage underpaid workers to ask for raises. So that's really important too. So if you did get too nervous to negotiate, ask for those raises when that time comes. So if you have like performance reviews, if they're telling you you're doing a good job, that's when you ask for a raise. And then that's all I have. Does anybody have any questions?